Good evening, ma'am.
Hi, good evening.
Yes, we will begin the session. Meanwhile, the children will get started. Uh, Good evening, one and all present here. On behalf of Velamal Knowledge Park Career Cell, I invite the guest Jahana and Mr. Salim sir from IMS for organizing this session. And I request our career prep leader, Gautam sir, to give the welcome address for the parents and the students and the in-charges who will join here and supporting us. Gautam sir, please.
Good evening, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. It's my privilege to welcome you all to this orientation session. My warm greetings to the officials from IMS, and I welcome the leaders of Bela Mall. Ms. Jannah Sajwani is the director of UG Law Program at IMS Learning Resources Limited. Prior to this position, she has been a faculty of law at KPM SOL and NMIMS University, Mumbai, and she's currently pursuing her PhD from the same university. Her specialization is international trade law and has pursued her LLM from National Law University, Jodhpur. Prior to joining NMIMS, she has worked at the Gujarat National University as the Teaching and Research Associate, where she was affiliated with the Center for Public International Law and conducted various research programs during her tenure. She has been awarded gold medal for rich motoring experience during her law school. So we have someone who is supremely talented and passionate here today to talk about law as a career. So we welcome you, ma'am. Thank you for uh, joining with us today, ma'am.
Thank you so much. It means a lot. Thank you. Should I start?
Yes, ma'am. The stage is
Yes.
yours.
All right. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Today, as you are all aware, we're here to talk about, law as a career and what law looks like. And thank you for such an amazing introduction. But just to make everyone very clear that I personally never thought that I want to do law. This is something I realized when I was in my school, like you guys, and which is why I'm going to keep it very simple, very basic, and let's try and understand what law as a career looks like, because a lot of you would have heard and understood that, oh, lawyers do this, lawyers lie, and all of those things. But that's not just that we do. As a career option for law, there are amazing opportunities, and these are not just opportunities in terms of learning and understanding the law, but these are also, to be very honest, money minting things, because it involves, for all of us, it's very important that once we do a particular career, we should be satisfied in what we are doing. And second is that you obviously need the resources to live the life that you have thought of or imagined for. So, so when we start talking about law as a career, just wanted to confirm: is my screen visible?
Yeah, Jannah, you can go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So, I am sure when you think of law, you think of, or a lot of people have come across this statement that, in movies, or we've seen in various courtroom dramas like Suits, like various Jolly LLB, and various movies, that law is just about how many cases are pending in the courts, and there's this pure drama, and anyone can do whatever they want. But that's actually not the case at all. In fact, when we start talking about law, we have some very eminent personalities who are themselves lawyers. So if you can see on the picture here, can you identify these people? If the students could tell me this. Can you identify all the three people here?
Students, you can use the raise hand icon so that host can unmute you.
Yeah, I think there are two people who've raised their hands. So if you could just unmute them.
Nelson Mandela.
Okay. Anyone else?
Ma'am, Obama.
Obama. Okay. And who's the other person? Yes. Can you recognize this old man here? Some people have raised their hands.
Ma'am, Ram Jetmalani.
Ram Jethmalani. Absolutely. So these are, sorry. Yeah. So these are people who have pursued their law, and these are very, very eminent personalities. On my left, we have Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. Barack Obama was the president of United States of America, and Michelle Obama was the first lady. And Ram Jethmalani on the right is one of the first lawyers that our country has seen, and he has immense. So I'm just going to give you a quick brief about these two. So when we talk about Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, they are both lawyers. They how Michelle Obama was a Princeton graduate and Barack Obama is a Harvard graduate. Whereas when we talk about Ramjeet Malani, is himself a graduate of Mumbai University, the government law college. He was one of the first lawyers in India to actually get the law degree, the LLB degree, at the age of 18. Earlier, just to give a quick brief, earlier the limit to become an advocate was 21 years, but his first case at the age of 17 is when he went to the Supreme Court and said that the Bar Council should amend the age limit for becoming a lawyer, and he won the case. And as we know him, he's not only the youngest lawyer that the country has seen, but he has been the best criminal lawyer that India has seen. He's also been the Lok Sabha member and has fought some cases of very, very eminent personalities. If you have not heard of him or have not read about him, please go back, do some Google, not right now, but just do some Google and you will understand he was in the Manu Sharma and Jessica Lal murder case. If you have watched the movie, you would probably recognize that. So we have these people, and of course, I don't think Barack Obama and Michelle Obama need any introduction here. Um, both of them started their career as lawyers. They met as lawyers, and then they went ahead and made history as we know it now. So law is not just about going to the courts or just about reading loads and loads of briefs or just like being in the court all the time and asking the judge to give some judgment. Yes, that's a very, very crucial, important part of law as a career option and what lawyers do, but that's not it, especially when we are talking about today's generation where there are so many things that have changed, like something as basic as use of mobile phones and social media has become I think almost indispensable in our life. There are a lot of legal issues that tend to arise. Uh, with the pandemic in operation, with the pandemic that was there, this also was an issue. So we are going to talk about these very, very different areas of law and how you can pursue your career. Like I was telling you, that law is not just about starting and practicing in the court and taking a lot of time to establish yourself. That's not that. Now the success that lawyers have seen or are seeing, not just in terms of satisfaction in their job levels, but also the kind of money that they get is immense. There is literally, I mean, I say this to a lot of my students that you cannot live without lawyers and doctors, and it's actually true because something as basic as the fact that you need a birth certificate or a marriage certificate or a death certificate, you would need some or the other involvement of a lawyer in your life in one way or the other. Of course, I hope that you don't need them for other disputes of any kind, but just in case, they are always going to be there. So, a lot of people ask me this also, that with AI coming into picture and with so much of internet related things happening, why don't you think that robots will eventually replace lawyers? And I tell them the same thing, that robots may be able to do that, but the human application of mind that lawyers are required to do is something that robots can never do. The kind of interpretation that you need to do for a law is something that you cannot expect a robot to do. So like I was talking about the compensation, if you see here, I have mentioned some numbers. So the highest and the best of the law firms that students go to, and the average placement offer or the compensation that they get is and I'm talking all of this as a fresher, is somewhere between 15 to 18 lakhs per annum, which is not something that you get if you start out your career in other fields. But as a lawyer, you can actually do that. If you see here, I've attached a clipping uh, of an NLS graduate's pay package, which was 36 lakhs, and that was, like I said, it was the college placement offer that the student had received. So in terms of money, also in terms of demand, lawyers are no less. In fact, there are now the whole idea of law has changed, and it's not just about going to courts, but these are these law firms who do a lot of day in day out practice with respect to different clients and processing their documents and making their contracts and things like that. So there's immense opportunity for you to take this up as a career. Now, I'm sure you may have a question that do I actually have with me when we say that, I can be a lawyer? So it's not honestly that difficult. In fact, the only two or three things that you need is first and foremost is good communication skills. And when I say good communication skills, just does not mean that being able to write or draft an email or a letter, or for that matter, once you graduate, a notice. No, it's not just about that. Law as a career also involves a lot of networking. If you can go and see our YouTube page, also IMSGSL YouTube page, and there we've spoken about a lot of career options of law. And there, one of the recent interviews that we did, we spoke about the same thing, that if you are a lawyer and if you are in say Bombay or Chennai, and if you have a connect with somebody who's in Delhi, and if their matter is in Chennai, if you have good contacts, you can actually reach out to them and get your matter solved, and you don't really have to be there. So, good communication in the sense of building a network is also very, very important. Second, another important thing is logical thinking. I think this is obviously very important in most of the professions. But when it comes to law, everybody says that, oh, law books are this huge and they have so many sections and so much of reading to do. But it's actually just pure pure logic. So if I tell you that you are not supposed to commit a murder, that is something which is purely logical. Nobody really needs to explain that to you. And how will you establish that actually murder has been committed is also something that you can do logically by way of different evidences that you or the police officer may collect. So it's as simple as that. Of course, like I said, you need some logical thinking. And I know you may have this question within you right now that, oh, we don't have the legal logical thinking probably, but that's something why you go to law schools and why you actually study law for 3 years, 5 years. Nowadays, the 5-year integrated program is what is the most prominent one. But if you eventually also decide to pursue law, just know that these are things during your law school that you will eventually develop. And last is reading. So like I told you that when we talk about lawyers, yes, you have to read day in day out. There are huge contracts, sections that you have to continuously read about, and that's why you need to be a voracious reader. So if you think you have any two out of these three things also, I can give you my guarantee that you can become a lawyer, of course, if you decide to pursue it. So these are three things or two things out of these that you should definitely see or think of. If you have in yourself, I think you're good to be a lawyer. Of course, your law school will prepare you for a lot of things, which we will discuss eventually during the course of this presentation. Okay, now, like I was telling you that, there are these different career options that exist. So first and foremost is becoming an advocate, actually going to the court. So we call this as litigation. So which is essentially when the advocate, whoever we are talking about, is actually practicing in the court. They represent matters before the judge The matters vary from different kinds of subjects, like I mentioned here, civil law, criminal law, tax law. Now there is international law. So if there is a dispute between two individuals, and you have to go to the court, that also is a lawyer's job. If there's a dispute between two companies and there's a need to go to the court, that's also a lawyer's job. If there's a dispute between two countries and if you need to go to the court, even that is a lawyer's job. So there is literally no limit to this if you decide to take up your practice as an advocate and undertake litigation. Obviously, the journey is a bit difficult initially because you, like I told you, lawyering or being a lawyer is not just about reading the section and knowing the section, but it's also a lot to do with knowing people and to establish yourself as a lawyer in the market, to know to have that know-how that okay, I can probably fight a criminal law case also and a civil law case also. That needs a lot of interaction with different people, learning, of course, and also the fact that you have to build your client base. So that's how it's important, and that's how a lot of people say that doing litigation or practicing as an advocate takes a lot of time, and it involves a lot of juggling between different courts and things like that, which is all fair. The money, to be very honest, initially is not as high as it is there in law firms. But once you set yourself, once you establish yourself, trust me, there is no such enjoyment, or there's no such thing as better as practicing in the court, because you're actually real life fighting the disputes on behalf of your clients. So that's about litigation. Second is being a law firm lawyer or being a corporate lawyer. This is something that I was talking to you about. So in India and abroad, there are various law firms who do practice of corporate law. So when I say corporate law, it essentially includes things like contract making, document verification. There are other terms like mergers and acquisitions. So if you would have recently read about Vodafone and all of these things, they all come from that. So this, like I told you, is one of the most sought out career option as a lawyer. And there are few things that we give credit to for this. First and foremost is the money. The money is immense. Like I told you earlier also, that the average pay package of a graduate is somewhere around 15 to 18 lakhs per annum. And if you are from like a national law university, especially if the top five national law universities, and if you are poached by a foreign law firm, your package can go somewhere above 30 lakhs as well. So it is obviously there's good money that is involved. Second is that you are not really required to go to the courts, but you are doing a lot of dealing for different companies, different individuals who have some form of corporate practice. So this is purely like a corporate law issue, sorry, a corporate law career based option. There are various law firms, like I've mentioned here. The best in the country is the Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas and Shadur Amarchand Mangaldas. And there are various law firms like Khaitan, Trilegal, AZB. They have offices in Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore. So you can go ahead and read about them. These are law firms which law students these days who are in their law school aspire to reach at. So if you've got your placement at CAM and SAM, they literally say that your life is sorted. Uh, the only con or the flip side with this is that the timings in law firms are very hectic and very long, but I don't think in terms of learning it is any less. And I feel personally, when we talk about starting a career in law, initially there is of course a lot of hard work, but eventually it leads to a lot of growth and money. So obviously that's something that you should keep into consideration. uh, then comes something known as an in-house counsel for a company. So there are various banks, various companies like ONGC, like NPCL, and all of these who also need lawyers. In fact, like banks like ICICI, Citibank, HDFC, all of them also have their legal counsel. So they're termed as in-house counsel because uh, They take care of legal matters that may arise within their own company or relating to their company. So this is more of a regulatory work, checking whether the bank or the company is um, or their practices are in tune with the different laws that exist, the sections that exist. So we have dedicated courts for banking and debt recovery. So just to see that whether these companies or their clients are regularly complying with these things or not. So that's the job that an in-house counsel is required to do. It could be both public and private sector. So like I mentioned, different banks, there are public sector companies, all of them need lawyers, and this is what you can do. In fact, this is one of the most sought out after law firm as a career, because it really pays well. And also in terms of your learning, there is immense learning. And last is, which probably may be an important criteria for some of you, is the fact that it's not like you have crazy working hours like the law firm. So you operate in a particular 9 to 5 or a 10 to 6 kind scenario, which if it works for you, I think this is a very good option as well. Then something which I was talking about earlier, that how law is changing. So becoming an intellectual property lawyer. So just to give you a brief, if you don't know what intellectual property is, it is essentially the trademark, the copyright. So if you see here, I've attached some images. So the fact that the LinkedIn logo or the Instagram logo is itself a trademark of these specific companies. So nowadays, if you go on Instagram, or if you would have seen at a lot of places, the brands and their trademarks are being duped. So just like a small thing in the McDonald's, ka M will be changed and it will be something else, and it will become a brand for some other company, even an eating joint for that matter. So there are such violations that are happening a lot. In fact, if you start talking about movies and songs, like you would have heard so much about one of the musicians, Preetham, who tends to copy songs from other places. So these are all issues which, as lawyers, you would be required to tackle. That whether if suppose I have invented something, or if it's my book, like even there was a lot of controversy, if you would have heard, during Three Idiots, that Chetan Bhagat said that they've relied on my story but have not given me due credit. So these are all legal controversies which are there, and you as an IP lawyer, if you decide to take this up, it will be very very interesting to work as a field. There are various companies who are now, and even law firms for that matter, who are now doing IP practice, and they're protecting. They have these clients like um, LinkedIn, YouTube, different brands, and they do the protection of those brands and fight disputes on their behalf. So that's also something that you can think of as your career option. Of course, become a sarkari nokar is something that you can think of. Like basically, if you decide to pursue judiciary, so if you decide to be a judge, in that case, you would have to give your judiciary exam. There are state level exams which are there. And if you decide to become a judge, you have to start at a grassroots level. So you have to start being the judge or the magistrate as at a local court, and then you move to high court and supreme court, and so on and so forth. You can obviously give these civil service exams like UPSC exams or bureaucrat jobs. They're something that you can take up. So these are all government based jobs if you want to do the same. Um, they have good perks as well, including the money. The money initially may be less than a law firm job, but it includes a lot of perks. There's immense security that you have over the course of your tenure. So that's also something which a lot of people think is a good option. I think someone was raising their hand. If there's any question, I can take this up, or it's better if we do it towards the end, whatever. Sir, you can tell me. Okay, I think it's better if we take up the questions towards the end. Maybe if you have questions, you can mention it here in the chat box, and once I'm done with my presentation, I'll take those questions up. So if so that you don't really forget what your questions are, you can just mention it here in the chat. Okay, so this is about government jobs. Now, yeah, another very, very interesting field is becoming a media and an entertainment lawyer. So, I was telling you about different trademarks and movies and songs and all of their controversies, but not just these companies as a whole. Like, if you're talking about, say, we recently talk about movie like a Brahmastra. Now, if you talk about Ayan Mukherjee's production house, overall they do need to comply with a lot of laws. They also need to enter into contracts with different agencies. Just not the actors, and like for example the VFX that they've taken, so that's a separate entity which has provided that to them, because obviously in India we don't have that kind of technology or that kind of support. So they do end up being in a lot of contracts, and those are very specific contracts because the time durations, the mode of payment, and all of these things are very different. So they also need lawyers. So I've mentioned some companies here like Shimano Dharma, Balaji, Saregama. All of them are labels who have their own lawyers and want to ensure that their legal disputes are taken care of. Not just these visual and music companies like these big banners, but also print media needs a lot of support. Like I've mentioned here, Times Group, Hindustan Times, all of them need a lot of legal support as well. So it's a very, very niche, but a very interesting field of law. And the money is also good because we're talking about great banners like Disney, Viacom, and all of them. Uh, yes, then becoming a law professor, this is something that I have personally done in my life. So you essentially can once you need to finish your masters for that. So once you pursue your LLM, after that you can join a university, join a college, and start teaching the students. If you are interested in that kind of career, you would obviously be required to uh, take up some research, and there's one exam called UGC NET exam which you are required to clear. But it is immensely satisfying, the fact that you learn a law and then you teach it to a group of students who are aspiring to become lawyers. I think it's very, very satisfying. The pay is also decent. Right now they've implemented the seventh pay commission, so the pay goes up to 1 lakh per month that I have mentioned here. So that's also a very interesting field and something that you can do if you have, or if you think you have the teaching skills in you. Then becoming a judge advocate general, this is something which is very specific to the military and the defense forces. So again, when we talk about, like I was telling you, literally law and dispute and lawyers are required everywhere. So of course, the defense forces are not left behind. They also need lawyers. In fact, their laws are very different, and the kind of system that is there, the procedure that is there, that is being implemented on different army officials or air force officials or navy officials is not the same as us. So if anyone of you is from a defense background, you would understand that there is a civilian law and then there's a different defense law, and those categories exist in these defense forces. So they need separate uh, lawyers to handle their disputes internally. These are purely for their internal disputes. Please don't think that they will go ahead and fight the dispute when there is a dispute between India and China. No, that's not what they would be doing. But internally, because the laws for these different defense forces are different, they will also be doing this. I've mentioned two good movies here, one Shaurya and the other is Few Good Men. For some of you who are interested in law, and if you obviously you know of Suits and all of those things, A Few Good Men, 12 Angry Men, these are good movies that you can watch and probably inspire yourself to become a lawyer. Then there's something known as a legal process outsourcing. This is purely a documentation related job. A lot of US companies, this idea actually comes from US because they need a lot of assistance in terms of the contracts that they make. So there are companies like Thomson Reuters, Quistflex, all of them. They assist different US firms or advocates in their drafting, research, proofing, and just doing a due diligence of their different contracts. So this is a good option if you want to maintain a good work life balance and you want a decent salary. So that's also something that you can think of. NGOs, international organizations are again not far away from needing the law. So if you talk about UN, if you talk about WTO, the World Bank, all of them rely on lawyers because their own whatever that they do is coming out of the laws, the international laws or standards that they have established. So they need a lot of research. If tomorrow the United Nations is coming up with a law or coming up with a guideline, it cannot just implement like this. They have to actually do a lot of research and come up with a policy. It's a very well paying job. Of course, LLM is required, and you can get through them through internships. And this is a very, very interesting field if you are there, and money is also good. So that's another thing. So yeah, so just to summarize, these are the different law career options that you have, and these are the different subject areas that you would be looking into. But this is for a detail for a later time that you can see and probably do some research about. Okay, now we will talk about how to actually do law. Now that I have told you about these extremely interesting career options and how and what you can do law, you obviously need to get a degree. That goes without saying. So where can you get this degree in this country? So in this country we have something called as the national law universities. You would have heard of them here and there. So we have around 22 national law universities. We have IITs for engineering students. Similarly, for law students we have these national law universities. So the national law universities offer a 5 year LLB law program. So essentially, you will have a dual degree that will be given to you, or it is called as an integrated program, where you are given either a BA LLB degree or a BBA LLB degree or a BCom LLB degree. So, or even BSc LLB degree is offered at some places. So I mentioned some of the colleges with great NIRF rankings here. On the left here is are the 7 8 national law universities, which are the top ranked national law universities. So you have NLSIU, which is in Bangalore. It has 120 seats. Nalsar and UJS. So these are all in different locations in the country. One of the last ones, if you see here, is the Jindal Global Law School, which is a private university but has been ranked by NIRF as the as the best private university in the country, which is situated in Haryana. They have around 300 seats. It's truly a global school, so that's also something that you can think of. Other than that, we do have other national law universities. Like I told you, there are 22 national law universities, and then there are certain private colleges like Symbiosis, GLC, ILS, and so on and so forth. They have a different seat matrix. If you want, we can circulate a brochure also. So it has details of all of these colleges as well and will help you understand. But it's not very easy to get through these colleges. You are required to clear an exam, or there are different exams. So one very, very important exam, which if you think of doing law, you are definitely required to at least appear for, even if you don't get a very good rank, is the CLAT, or the Common Law Admission Test, which is the first one that I have mentioned here. The common law admission test happens once a year. So for this year, for admissions in the 23 cycle, it's happening in December. 18th of December is the CLAD exam. The CLAD exam is where there are, so last year, in this year, 2022, around 55,000 students actually wrote the exam. And to just give you the figures, the if I compare all the national law universities, the 22 national law universities, there are only and only somewhere around 3,000 seats that exist, combining all these 22 universities. So the exam is tough, the competition is huge, and like we've understood that law as a career option is something which is being pursued by a lot of people. A lot of students nowadays are interested in it because 55,000 people in the country are writing this exam. If you talk about what this exam entails, so it has 5 subjects. One is English, second is GK, which is essentially current affairs. Maths is a very very small component. So if you are like me, who is scared of maths or does not enjoy maths, it's okay, because this is a very very small component in most of the exams for law. There's and then there's legal aptitude and logical reasoning. So if you see here, these are all subjects which test your logic, your understanding. So, this GK is something that you are required to know as to what goes on. But all of these sections are taking place in a passage based format. So, you are actually given like a comprehension, which is around 400 words, and you're supposed to read it. And then there are 4 5 questions which is completely objective MCQs, and you are supposed to read the passage and then give answers. This is for all the sections, including GK. That this is how the paper looks like. This is a 150 marks paper, and you have 2 hours to attempt the same, and there's a negative marking of 0.25. So this is something that if you are pursuing or thinking of pursuing your career in law, you will have to give this exam, and through this exam you can get into any of the national law university in the country. And a lot of private colleges also do rely on your CLAT scores. So that's also an additional reason why you should definitely give the CLAT exam. Next year also the exam will happen in December. So this is something you should definitely keep a note of. Then there's something which is known as the ALET, or the All India Law Entrance Test exam, which is conducted by a specific national law university which is situated in Delhi. So that's also a national law university, but it does not fall in the bracket of these 22 universities. It has their own exam. If you see the portion here which I've written under the sections, that also has English RC, general knowledge, legal aptitude, reasoning, and maths. So more or less, the paper pattern is very same, except you have only 90 minutes to appear for this rather than 120 minutes that you have for CLAT. And there's obviously a negative marking of 0.25. This is something which the National University Delhi is a very very premier college, but the exam is obviously a bit difficult and bit different. So not all the students in the country appear for that, but definitely CLAT is one thing that should be your target to go through any law school. Then there are other exams which are specific to certain regions. So you have the MHCET law, which is specifically for Maharashtra. The portion is the same. In fact, there's no negative marking, but this is only and only for law schools situated in Maharashtra. So you have NMIMS, you have Symbiosis, you have ILS, and there are these GLC Mumbai and all of those. So if you're targeting that, you should give that exam. Then there is LSAT, which is the law school admission test, which is based on the English LSAT exam, but that's specifically for India. And they have these sections where there is no maths. It's purely logic, analytical, reasoning, comprehension based, reading comprehension based exam. And this is something that students tend to appear mostly for private colleges. So, like I mentioned about Jindal Global Law School earlier, which has been given the NIRF ranking first or amongst the private colleges. So, Jindal Global Law School takes admission through LSAT India. So that's also a very good backup option for various students in the country, just in case if you don't get through NLUs. This is something that you can think of. Then there is NMIMS. So NMIMS has its campuses all across the country. So their main campus is in Mumbai. Then they have their campus in Bangalore, Hyderabad, then Chandigarh, Indore, and Dhule. So these are the places that they have their campuses. They have their own exam and they take admission through CLAT, LSAT as well. So their exam is known as NM-LAT. They have the exact same portion. So that's also something that you can think of appearing for in case you want to keep a private college as your backup. So this was all about what different national law universities look like, where you can go, what the exams that you have to appear for, and I told you that these are actually the total seats in NLUs are not even 3,000. So you can see there were 57,000 takers, and now that the exam is happening in December, there are already around 62,000 people. Sorry, 62,000 people who have actually registered for this exam. So I would tell this that if you've not started your preparation, if you're still thinking about it, please take a call very, very soon because the exam is right here. There is immense practice and immense reading that you would be required to do, and the competition is crazy. I don't mean to scare you, but just to give you a reality check that it's not as easy as it looks like to become a lawyer, because earlier this was the saying that if you can't do anything in your life, why don't you just become a lawyer? But that's not what's happening right now. You really, really need to pull up your socks and actually start very actively preparing for it and think of this as a career option. Now, why is it important? Sorry, why is it important that you start thinking about this or start talking about preparing early, or looking at cracking the CLAT exam and starting your preparation right now itself? This is because, firstly, like I told you, the competition is crazy, like literally crazy. Then you may also think that, oh, there are five subjects, I'll have to do my school and then do these subjects ka padhai and all of that, which is a good concern, but also the exams don't test your knowledge, they don't test your mugging up skills, and they don't test as to what happened in this year or that year. No, these are only and only about logic, your aptitude towards law as a whole. So it's very easy for you to prepare for this alongside your boards or school, because yeah, so because these are subjects that you are anyway going to look at in your college, in your schools, and you can prepare with them. The only additional thing that you would probably be required to look into is GK, which honestly you can just do by reading the newspaper on a daily basis, so that you can build your GK. But yes, there are tactics involved as to how to appear for the exam. If you don't give a proper commitment to your preparation, this is going to be difficult for you. So yeah, this is something that you can do, and I will also talk about how in all of this IMS can help you. But first and foremost, please understand, like I said, that CLAT, of course, is not an easy exam, but because it has subjects which you already do read in your school, these are something that you can manage. So that's the first thing. You can start reading or doing your preparation from 50 minutes or 1 hour. Please read GK every day, literally every day. And you have to read some standard papers like Hindu, like Indian Express. And yes, do not have small targets. Do not think that, oh, this is going to be my backup, or if I don't get through national university, I'll go into private. Yes, it's good to have a backup, but backups should not be there just to fall back on. They should be there just literally as a backup and not as a primary option. So that's another thing. And now that the CLAT exam specifically happens in December and your board exams will happen in March, April, you have more than enough time to prepare for the exam prior, and then focus on your board exam. So you can actually balance it pretty well. So now comes the question of what your and your parents' expectation is going to be. First and foremost, being that this flexibility or the balance to be able to take care of your school and your preparation for boards and everything. Second is a lot of practice, because giving an exam, which is a fun 50 marks where you have to read so many uh, passages, does require a lot of practice. You tend to give a lot of mock exams. You need to have a strategy as to how to appear for the paper. So all of that only and only happens when you have some form of continuous guiding, and then of course assessment. I don't think that you can just keep solving mocks, or you can just keep reading the newspaper or the material that that's available at any website. You actually need to understand whether you have it in you, or whether you can crack the exam and get into your choice of national or university. So these are what we have understood as parents, as students. You may have expectations, and we are here to help you. And why and what is it that we do? First and foremost is that IMS, as a coaching institute, has been in the market for the last 40 years. We have highly experienced faculties. We actually have our mentors who are full-time and NLU graduates. They have themselves graduated from the top 10 national law universities in the country, and know what the test looks like. They have given the UG exam, they've given the PG CLAD exam, and have been in this since a very long time. Second is we have very small classrooms where the batch size is really small, so that we actually can focus on the students dedicatedly, because we understand that, like I've been telling you again and again, that this exam is not easy. It requires dedicated practice and regular practice. So these classrooms, not just in terms of concepts, but also we have this very important feature, which is mentoring. So students can actually reach out to the faculty and get their doubts solved, and these faculties just don't solve their doubts in terms of, oh, I don't know how to answer this question, or don't know what was the answer of this question, but they also help you plan your study. They help you understand how what subject. So for example, if you're weak in certain subject areas, they'll actually do a lot of hand holding and tell you what strategy you should keep in mind to prepare for the same, and also during the actual exam. Other than that, we have around 70 plus mock tests that we offer to the students. We have online resources, so we have our own my IMS portal where students regularly take practice of certain specific modules. We have great GK resources that we provide to our students on daily, weekly, fortnightly, monthly, and yearly basis. And last is, we also tend to do parent teacher meetings, or we do this feedback sessions with the parents. We actually were one of the only test prep industries, or a coaching institute which could actually do this even during the pandemic. We have actually conducted mentoring sessions and PTMs with the parents during the pandemic as well, so that the students should not suffer in any way. So this is what IMS does. When it comes to the law program, the classroom feature, so we just don't have the classroom feature. We have two different features. One is the online feature, and one is the classroom feature. When we talk about the classroom feature, there is a weekly engagement of 12 to 15 hours. And yes, this is something that you need, especially if you want to crack an exam like CLAT. You have to manage with your school. We have 70 plus mock tests, and we actually we try to start our mocks almost a year ahead of the exam, so that the students are in the groove. We in fact do proctored test. So you are actually required to go to the center, attempt the paper on Sunday between 2 to 4 p.m. in the exact same way that CLAT happens, so that you actually know how and what you're going to feel during the exam, because it's very easy to prepare for the exam, but to crack it and to be in that simulated proctored environment really gives you a cutting edge. And after you attempt these marks, we also give you solutions for these. We give you an in-depth analysis as to what you should have done, what your good score should look like. GK, I have already spoken about that. We don't have just weekly. We have a weekly delivery classes that we have on online basis, where we take you through the whole week's GK. But other than that, we also have something where we give daily reading to the students. We have a monthly magazine which is uploaded on our IMS portal. We have one-to-many and one-to-one mentorship sessions. So not just this, but we're also looking into how and what students, each and every student needs, because they need a customized, tailor-made plan for them. So that's also something that we are looking at. All of this is also available in the online, because we obviously give you the book, the courseware, which has material for preparation for all these 5 subjects that I mentioned. Along with it, you have the marks and of course the concept classes and everything that is there. We also have a separate practice module that is given to the students, so that once they're done with the class and once they're done with their concepts, they can also do their own practice at home. We in fact also give some marks which they can take at home and do the same in their free time, or just to improve their scores. This is something, this is our recent success. So we had actually 2 of our students in this 2022 year which went to the second best national law university in the country, which is the Nalsa University in Hyderabad. It's a national law university. It has been given the second rank in the country by the Bar Council of India. And not just that, we had students going to National Law University Jodhpur, which is the 5th best national law university. Oh, sorry, we had 3 students who went to Nalsar, and 2 of them went to Bhopal, which is the 7th best national law university. And we have great other numbers. In fact, just before we started this session, I got a message that one of our students has uh, taken admission into IIM Rohtak, which also offers a BBA program. And from Chennai itself, that student was there. So it's these students who are actually keeping us going, and we see them practicing with so much dedication, and we know that with so much of practice, with so much of rigor, is only when you can crack this. So if you have any doubts about why IMS, or whether you should go to IMS or not, I known that IMS was there during my time, if IMS existed, and they did the law practice, I would have definitely done it, because your mentors are very helpful. Like, I have personally experienced when I was in some other coaching institute, that in a class of 200, the mentor didn't know me, or they just didn't know what was happening with me. But here you will not have that experience. In fact, every student has been given regular timing where they have to interact with the mentors, and that's not optional. So you have to talk to the mentors and have your own tailor-made customized plans. So that's about IMS. We also have a lot of resources on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is IMS ESL, and we have 3 properties under it. We have Insight, which is knowing different career options. So we just don't talk about corporate law, criminal law, and so on and so forth that I just mentioned, but we also talk about very niche areas of law, like sports law, like arbitration, cyber law, which is very recent and which is very upcoming. Then we have another property, which is Insight, where we actually take you through what different national law universities or private universities look like. So we have a tie-up with different universities, and students of these universities are in a contract with us, and they provide us different videos and information that goes out on our YouTube channel. And last is Initiate, where we tell you about different subjects of law, and what are the probably landmark judgments, different bizarre laws or important laws that you should know. So this is about what I have to say. If there is any question, please let me know. I would be happy to take them up. I think there were a lot of hands that were raised, but because of my screen sharing, I couldn't check. So, if you could tell me if you have any questions pertaining to career, pertaining to law schools, pertaining to IMS, I'd be very, very happy to address.
Thanks, Jannah. Just to add on to the
Yes,
presentation,
please.
as being there's a lot of perception. There's no law school in Tamil Nadu or Chennai. Please be rest assured, we have an NLU Trichy in place, which takes in through the CLAT examination. So please don't get worried that your parents would not be able to send you to Mumbai, Delhi, or Hyderabad. We have a national law school in Trichy as well, which is on the good rankings of the school. So you will be able to make it to the National Law University Trichy as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Just to add an information on, because that was told by Hemlata to share it. See, Tamil Nadu per se, in the admissions of the colleges in Tamil Nadu, it is purely on the marks. Okay, the best university you could look at is the Ambedkar University, the School of Excellence of Law in Chennai. So that's the only school which you can look out. If not, then you will have to look out to the top law schools in this country, like ma'am was saying. So please be very focused. And very honestly, let me also share my personal experience. Both my kids are lawyers at home. So one is done our post-graduation, one is done. So if any parents are attending this, please be rest assured, they will stand on their own legs. They have a wonderful career ahead. So don't miss out those opportunities. What we would say as a parent, I'm telling you. Yeah. So if you have any questions, we can take it one by one.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
I think Pranav has a question. Yes. Pranav, Priya.
Ma'am,
Yes.
may I know your YouTube channel's name so that I can.
IMS GSL. I will just type it here in the chat box. Just go to YouTube and write IMS GSL. I have mentioned it here in the chat box as well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am, can I
Ma'am,
ma'am, can I study my LLB without undergraduation?
Without undergrad, yes. So these 5-year LLB courses, the integrated program that I mentioned, you can go for them just after your 12th. So the CLAT exam is something you have to do while you are doing your 12th or just after passing your 12th.
ma'am, thank you for the explaining, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, what is your YouTube channel, ma'am?
Chat box, if you could just read it, IMS GSL.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions? I think Ayush, Sarvesh, any one of you? Yes, Sarvesh.
Ma'am, evening, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, what is the use of legal advisor and what they perform?
Who? Legal advisor?
Ma'am?
So legal advisors depend on which role are you talking about. If they are an advisor to the government, they have to advise on different national, international policy matters that may be there in the country. If you are to a private organization, like if you are a legal advisor to say Reliance or Vodafone for that matter, so their compliance related things, their policies and other things are something that you have to advise on. But it really depends on which field of law are we talking about. If you're talking about defense, then you have to advise them in those specific laws or those specific regulations that exist. Is this clear, Sarvesh?
Yeah, Jannah, if we can tell them to type on the chat, so that we can.
Yeah,
give off
I
the,
told them earlier also,
Yeah.
but I think none of them typed. So
Yeah, I think before, without raising your hands, if you can type the questions on the chat box, we will take it one by one.
yeah. I think they can take 2-3 minutes if you
Yeah.
want and just type them. I'm here.
Yeah, just given them typing options.
So for training for a lawyer, like I said, you can take up law as a career, or you can actually start studying the law just after your 12th. So you would essentially be required to do the same uh, for 5 years. So most of these these law schools offer the course for 5 years. It's a 5 year integrated program. So that's that. If you want to do it after your graduation, then that's a different option. There you take 3 years, but that's not very advisable because it's better if you uh, start early and actually stay ahead of the rest. So that's that. Uh, a sarkari job is basically a government job where you have these PSUs, these companies, national companies who also need lawyers. So that's basically the sarkari job. So what I explained, if you act as a legal advisor to say to any of the ministries or join any public sector undertaking, so that's also something that you can do. Uh, how is a lawyer important is something that someone has asked me. I think a lawyer, like I'm just going to reiterate that a lawyer is required literally at every stage in your life. It's indispensable when it comes to just something as basic as doing your marriage registration, or if you want to just get anything notarized, you would need a lawyer. So literally lawyers are going to be there for everything that you would need in your life. Uh, what subjects should we pay more attention after 10th to get law as a career? I think English is a very, very important subject because the more you are well versed with reading, with different words, and just the basics of vocabulary, I think it really, really helps because, like I told you, that the CLAT exam is highly relies on English because of passage based questions. So you have 450 words of passage and then followed by certain questions. So English is something that you should definitely focus on when you're thinking of law as a career. And GK is also something because they make up for a lot of important things. For legal aptitude, you would need some intervention, obviously, because you don't get that offered in your schools as a subject. You can complete LLB in 3 years after your graduation. So if you do a BCom, BA, BBA degree, only then you can complete it in 3 years. If you want to do it immediately after your 12th, then no, you will have to do a 5 year integrated course. Somebody asked me how is law working in our society. So I think I'm just going to I don't want to that I think that's a separate conversation about the function of law and purpose of law in a society. But just to give you this answer in very brief is what I told you, that if there would be no law, the society wouldn't exist. Today the fact that we have these laws which tell us that, oh, you cannot go to somebody else's house and steal something, or you cannot kill someone because you're just mad at them. uh, this is the foundation of the society. When we talk about the constitution, the fact that you have the right to profess any religion that you want, or you have this fundamental right to preach, or to have any profession, to pursue any profession, is also because the law exists. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do any of these things.
Yeah,
Uh,
just to add, Jannah, I think
yeah,
it would be good that if the student could watch out the live streaming of the Constitution bench, which is
yeah,
coming up,
yeah,
the webcast which is
yeah, yeah.
there, which will
That's
help
a
you
very
to know.
interesting
Yeah,
development. Yeah. No, but just to add to that, Salim, because I mean it's important thing right now. But as students who are especially in their 10th, 11th, they also don't know the basics of what is a fundamental right,
absolutely.
what all entails a fundamental right. So that's very important because in Supreme Court you are directly arguing as to whether say Article 21 has been violated or not. So I
Valid
would
or not.
really suggest go down, like break it down to the basics.
Basics.
and which is why the YouTube property that we have initiate really helps in that. And then of course, like sir suggested, now you have the freedom to just go on YouTube and watch any Supreme Court proceeding that you want. uh, how many marks are required to get into a National University Bangalore? So somewhere above 120 is a good score to get into National University Bangalore. Paper is 150 marks, so that's the thing. Uh,
Yeah.
yes, if a student has, yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
No, please go ahead.
I think I was jumping on to the next question because Tamil Nadu was there. So
Yeah. So no, just one more question, which has been personally sent to me is that if can I take law after or while I'm pursuing science? So yes, you can do that. Even there are colleges, national law universities like the Gujarat National Law University, which offers a BSc LLB course. But to be very honest, it doesn't matter whether you're from science, you're from arts, or from commerce, because the CLAT exam is what is needed to test you. Your 12th standard marks are a bare minimum requirement to get through that. Salim, you can take up the
yeah, I
Tamil
think
Nadu.
see, as I mentioned earlier, also we have an NLU Trichy in Tamil Nadu, okay, which is at Srirangam. So they also get in students with the CLAT score, and it is also rated among the top. When we are talking about the 20 odd schools which are there, so this also is among the top rank of institutes which you will be able to study. So in Tamil Nadu, any colleges there, yeah, that I said earlier, you can look at Ambedkar University as an option, wherein you will be able to get into your 12th standard marks. To get into the national law universities, you will have to write CLAT. My personal opinion is you should aim for a CLAT. If you don't make it to NLU, then you can look out the other options in Tamil Nadu.
Somebody has asked that I'm already in my 12th and hardly 2 months. So is it possible to crack CLAT? Uh, my answer to that is yes and no. Yes, it depends on what kind of preparation and what kind of time that you are willing to dedicate. The answer would be no in case you think that, oh, I'll just study for 1 hour and be able to do that. So no, but just because this topic has come up, and I think Salim later you can share this information with the students also. We are coming up with a 1 month score improvement program for the students, especially at this juncture where they've suddenly decided to take up law or want to keep that as a career option. So we've started a score improvement program, which is an online program. Which starts from 1st of November till 30th of November. We will cover the important topics for all subjects pertaining to CLAT, ALET, LSAT, because ALET is also happening this year in December, on 11th of December. And LSAT obviously happens twice a year. So one is in January and one is in June. So for all of these exams, we've kept this 1 month program. Along with this, we'll also take you through all the important GK topics that have happened over the last 1 year. So that's also something that you will get. The pricing of this program is 2,999, which is essentially 3,000. You can also take up our mocks. So there's an SIP Plus program, which is essentially for 5,000 rupees, where you get access to around 30 plus marks and these 1 month sessions that I told you. So I'll ask Salim sir to circulate this information with all of you. So that's also something that you can think of if you think you need intervention. Who is the father of law? I think we should keep a separate session about what law is and all of that. I think.
I think Jannah, we will keep this question and answer session.
Yes, I would be very happy to teach students the basics of law. Yes. Again, I think these questions like different types of laws and all of that, I would really request if you could go to our YouTube channel. You will get a lot more information there, because otherwise whatever time we have remaining, I don't think I'll be able to summarize in that.
So I think we will put it on to Hemalata ma'am. Ma'am, if there is any specific questions, if you could like to ask the panel, so it will be helpful for the entire student community. We would be allowed to answer it.
Yeah, I guess you have answered, both of them have taken efforts to answer all the questions, and ma'am also has come down to the students level, and in a very simple way she has explained clearly. And you both inspired and motivated them regarding the CLAP program, and definitely the fear within them or the ignorance or definitely this session has created awareness, no doubt at all. So thanks for accepting our invitation and sparing your valuable time with our students to create
It's
awareness.
always
These are
a
the children
pleasure.
across Tamil Nadu from Tanjore, Trichy, Coimbatore, Madurai, so even Chennai, Vellore, Kanchipuram. So across the Tamil Nadu students have joined today, and few parents also been there with them. So it was really a very useful session, and we will be in touch with Mr. Salim sir, and we will be connecting
Yes,
with you often whenever required. We will definitely will be with you.
definitely.
Take care.
Definitely. I would be very happy to take this session up anytime. Anything else that the students want to know. Just a concluding thought here that I know that this time of your life is scary, tricky. You don't know what your life is going to look like in the future, but don't worry. Just give your best that you can. Um, and things will fall into place because not everything can be planned in your life. So just give your best and things will fall into place. So good luck to everyone, and I hope to see you all in some of the other national or university and hear about the same. Sir or ma'am.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
yeah, thanks, Jannah. Thanks for your valuable time and contribution. We really
No
appreciate
problem.
it. And Hemlata ma'am, really thank you very much for organizing this in a big way. And hope the students have got the knowledge, and we will be in touch with you.
Definitely, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for making this happen. Without your support, this would have not happened. Definitely. Thank you so much. Please continue support us. It's where the class 9 and 12 got benefit about it.
Yes.
And this is the right time for them to decide upon their career options, whichever they can decide upon, and the parents can also support. So this build in a confidence in them. Thanks for your support. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you
Thank
so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. So with all, thank you
Thank you, ma'am.
organizers, and thank you the technical team support and students and the parents to making this a wonderful session and to be a successful one. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.